The Ranger Report, yeah, the Ranger Report. If you want the inside scoop, listen to the Ranger Report. Oh, here we go!
This is the Ranger Report podcast. News, insights, predictions, interviews, and information about the Texas Rangers from the major leagues to the minor leagues. And now, here are your hosts, Ben Dieter and CJ Berryman.
Welcome to the Ranger Report podcast, brought to you by, or actually we're in the Premier Health Solutions home internet studio right now. We are brought to you on the Fans First Sports Network by Walton's Everything But the Meat. And of course, we are presented by Dallas Sports Nation for all of your Dallas sports needs. I'm Ben Dieter. You can find me at Twitter on BDieter75.
CJ Berryman. You can find me at CJB_RR on the Twitter.
And we are back. And, last week's episode that we did was named The Rangers Just Keep Scoring. I mean, I could name this episode exactly the same thing, CJ.
Wouldn't you know?
They now lead all of baseball.
Yeah, and they're on pace to set the major league record in 10 games with 10 runs or more.
Yeah.
And they actually, and this was crazy, did you know that the Rangers record, franchise record for most runs scored in a season was the 2008 Rangers, who obviously didn't even come close to making the play. Well, they did.
They came close, but not. They fell off in September like they used to do.
Well, they started off real bad, and then picked it up the rest of the year. It kind of made a little, maybe I'd say maybe a threat for the wild card. Small threat there towards the end of the year, but the 2008 non-playoff Rangers have the franchise record. That's how bad the Rangers pitching was in the 2000s.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. So anyway, let's talk about the week that was in Texas Rangers baseball. So if you look back at the week that was, let's start with a big name who came back into the lineup. That would be Corey Seager has returned to the lineup. Since returning, CJ and I were looking this up off air. He is 7 for 16 with 8 RBIs, 2 home runs, and 5 runs scored, which comes around to a batting average of .438 since coming back off the injured list. So he was the best hitter on the team before he went on the injured list, and I think he might still be the best hitter on the team now. CJ,
maybe. I mean, there's really a lot of Ezequiel Duran's up there. Semien's extremely hot. He extended his hitting streak. But yeah, I mean, at least in the series for sure. He started off a little slow against the Braves.
Yeah, 0 for 3 the first game.
0 for 3 the first games. He did have an RBI, and then just a hit in the first game against Colorado, and then the last 2 games. I mean, the Rangers as a whole were mashing, but the charge was led by him for sure.
Yeah, it sure was. He is at least, if not the best hitter on the team, he is where he was before he dropped off. He doesn't look like he lost much with that little hamstring injury that kept him out for a little while. Well,
and if you look at it, he had a hot start to begin the season. I guess a hot restart is what you could call it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Right here where we're at now, and 55 at bats on the season. He's hitting .382. with an OPS of 1128 with 3 homers and 12 RBIs. So he's the Corey Seager this year right now at this point. I mean, for him to quote unquote start the season that we were hoping for. I personally want to see more defensively.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. He might, at 29 years old now, might be who he is defensively, which is average at best. Hopefully, I don't know. Just hopefully that improves, because I mean, I didn't think he was very good last season defensively.
No.
But hopefully this season maybe an improvement on that. If he can just be average and he keeps hitting like this.
Well, if he keeps hitting like this, yeah. I mean, and again, he can be spotted with Zeke every once in a while, even when they need help in late innings or in games that I don't know, if he's not doing his job there, they may wind up moving him somewhere before the end of the season.
Well, and they can they can do what they did today. I mean,
yeah.
to give him some, especially right now, coming off the hamstring injury, DH him, get him some time off his feet, but still get his bat in the lineup and let Zeke play short. And that's just such an awesome thing to have with the injury to Seager happening and Josh Smith getting the first go round and obviously didn't work out, and Zeke just took it over and took off. And so it's so good to have Zeke to be there and have the flexibility as well to place.
Well, I remember when we first got him, when we first got those guys from New York, that Zeke was the one touted to have the higher ceiling.
Yeah.
And than any of the other guys, even though Josh Smith was playing better at the time, we were told that Zeke had the higher ceiling, and now you're seeing it at the major league level happen right in front of our eyes.
Yeah, we kind of looked at all of them, and of course we were considerably higher on obviously Glenn Otto because he was closer to being major league ready.
Yeah.
And now obviously he's injured. Hopefully we really haven't seen enough out of Glenn Otto to say whether he is or not. No. We have seen enough of Josh Smith to know he's serviceable. We have seen enough of Ezequiel Duran to say this guy might be an everyday player somewhere in the infield, outfield for the Rangers for a while, and he might be. They said it on the. I think it was CJ Nitkowski said it today on the TV, the telly box, that if it wasn't for him playing too many games last season, he'd be a shoo-in for Rookie of the Year this year. Yeah. And here the Rangers have Josh Young, who is arguably the Rookie of the Year this year.
So far, for sure, yeah. I didn't even put him on our list to talk about, but he's having a great year too so far.
Yeah, Tatered a homer today with Seager. Yep.
He did. Yeah, I'm gonna have to bring up another guy though who leads the majors in home runs, and that's Adolis Garcia, dude. Yeah. That dude. You remember how we said he had to take a step forward? I think he's done it. Yeah,
last year we kind of knew, okay, this guy can be an everyday player in the outfield with the Rangers, and we're not even talking about his defense. His defense is outstanding.
It is an
outstanding arm. He's playing right where he needs to be in right field with that cannon that he's got.
Yeah.
And offensively, he's everything that you would want to have, except for hitting over 300, I guess you could say. He's not going to be a 300 hitter, but he's learned how to be patient. Yeah. And you look at today, the whole lineup is mashing out there, and Adolis is out there still. I think the score was 11-0, and he battled up there the game was well in hand, and he battled and took a walk. He could have gone up there and been like, hey, we're thrashing. No, so he didn't go up there just trying to swing to pad stats or anything like that. He drew a walk, and so he walked twice today, in fact.
Yeah, he did. And both of them were good walks.
Yes, and he hit 249 last year. I think he's going to be around that 250 range, and 250 to 260. But if he does what he continues to do, which is drive in runs, hit home runs, and get on base, because he's also pretty fast.
Yep.
That's what I mean with his defense. Excellent ball player to have in your lineup. And speaking of which, and it just kind of seems sneaky. I don't understand, and I just wanted to ask you get your opinion. Josh Young's hitting 257, but doesn't feel like it.
No.
You know what I mean?
It feels like he's hitting 100.
Yeah, it feels like he's hitting closer to at least the 280, 285.
Yeah.
But he is hitting 257. So what's going to happen when he does go on a hitting streak?
Yeah, what happens when he really gets it turned on?
Is this kind of steady Josh Young? Yeah. We haven't seen a huge enough sample size to know whether yes or no. So that's an exciting question to ask yourself too.
Yes, it is.
Is this kind of your steady what to expect more of out of Josh Young offensively and defensively? He's been awesome.
Yeah, he has.
Way outdid my expectations. I mean, that was my main concern coming into the season, just because I hadn't seen enough of him in the field, really at any of the levels, because of either injury or whatever. But Josh Young, man, playing third base, and I mean, hopefully he's an above average third baseman, third defensively, and then here comes the offense. And again, small sample size offensively, but if this is your run of the mill expectations of Josh Young, then geez, when he gets hot.
He is hot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I also wanted to talk a little bit about Marcus Semien, who I see, and we talked about this a little bit last year, but I see it even more this year. I see him as kind of, as this team is getting ready to compete, he's kind of this team's Michael Young.
I think so.
He's consistent. He puts in the work every day. His work ethic is amazing. His defense is good. His offense is solid. He always has a good approach at the plate. So Marcus Semien, with a full spring training under his belt, has really impressed me so far in the 2023 season.
That's an awesome comparison, because you can see it in yesterday's game, how the game got out of hand and Bochy started bringing guys in off the bench to get them. Brad Miller even got in the game, and Josh Smith was playing some short at the end of the game, and Marcus Semien was still out there. And he does not like to come out of the game no matter what. He doesn't like days off. He doesn't like games like this, like today. Bochy did sit him down. It takes an act of God.
Yeah, he didn't look happy about it.
Yeah, it takes an act of God to keep him out of the lineup or to pull him early in a game like today. And you can see it, and he leads by example too. He's not a huge rah guy, and I like the way you put that, because you look at that type of player, that type of role in a player like Semien, where you might look at, hey, our best overall player offensively is probably Corey Seager.
Yeah.
Well, that was the same way with Josh Hamilton.
Yep.
But Josh Hamilton really never had that. Obviously, didn't have hardly any leadership skills whatsoever. But and I don't know about Corey Seager's just a quiet kid. So
he is that for sure. But yeah,
that
Semien
might be a good comparison right there.
But yeah, Semien up to Michael Young is definitely something I can see comparing. The way he goes about his job every day, I love watching it. I love seeing him. If you're there in person, which I've covered a couple games, he's all business. You can tell once he's on the field, he is on the field to do his job and to win a baseball game. That's all he's thinking about. He's not thinking about personal stats or glory or any of that. He's just thinking about helping his team win a game.
Yeah, and you can just tell you just expect to see an excellent ball player and an excellent second baseman. He's vying for a Gold Glove right now.
Yeah, he sure is. All right,
he's everything that we could have asked for, and it's so funny to look back at all the comments after the start that he had.
I know. It really is.
Jeez.
There's some hilarious ones for sure.
And we'll get to some more of that.
He should never be on the field again. Someone once said. So.
Somebody said that earlier this year.
Yeah, this year. So yeah. Anyway, let's skip to another good one. Martin Perez had a couple of bad starts in a row, and then according to Emily Jones, when they were coming home for this homestand, he told her, "I got it. I figured it out." Talking about what was going on with his pitching. Like, I know what it is. I fixed it. He wouldn't tell her what it was, she said, but he got it fixed. But when he came out the other day, I would say he got it fixed. Martin Perez looked like the old Martin Perez from last season, earlier this season again. Whatever was plaguing him, I think he's figured it out.
Well, it looked like maybe he was getting away from what he usually does. You saw that in this start, it was a lot of fastball away, attack with the fastball, and that changeup away. And it reminded me, and it just reminded me of when he was in the minors, and I think it was low A or high A, long time ago. This is when the Rangers were contending for world championships.
Yeah.
And when he was just a young pup in the lower levels of the minors, and they were saying it's a young, this guy looks like a young Johan Santana. And that's what fastball, changeup, occasional slider, occasional curve, curve to say, hey, here, I do throw this, too, every now and then, but mainly fastball, changeup, attack. And it's so hard for hitters because it's two-seam fastball, or four-seam fastball, two-seam changeup, the way it fades, the changeup fades.
Yeah.
And he can just attack the outside corners on right-handed hitters with that. And he just kind of got back to doing that. And you saw him, if he got into a jam, boom, he got out of it, changeup away. And then it seemed like even if the hitters knew it was coming, they couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, he just looked so much better again. And I love confident Martin Perez. Confident Martin Perez is probably, a top tier pitcher for sure, and one of the best pitchers on this team out of the five. And that's saying a lot when you're looking at who they got going out there.
Yeah, it is. And it's what's funny, and we talk about this all the time, is that earned run average. You look at it now after the start the other night, he's 5-1 and his ERA is 4.01. We know he's better than 4.01 ERA.
Oh yeah.
He had these 2 games to where things got away from him.
Yep.
And it ballooned his ERA from under 3, to what it is now. So again, it's so hard to jump at just a handful of games, and that's just 2 games. Martin Perez is better than the 4.01 ERA states. His record, weird as it is, 5-1 record tells exactly how good he is.
Well, when they've averaged,
times
they said on TV the other night, the Rangers are averaging something like 9.3 runs a game for Martin Perez.
Yeah. And again, that's one time I think you'll look at a win-loss record and be like, okay, that's who he really is.
Yeah.
And the other way around, the ERA being 4.01, he's not that. He's not a 4.01 pitcher.
No, he's not. All right, well, let's look at the other side of it. The bullpen has not been fantastic for the Rangers at all. The bullpen has been trouble. They've lost several. I mean, they should have won the Atlanta series, but the bullpen gave it up. So, it's just sort of disappointing, but it's not just the Rangers' problem, it appears.
No, we were talking about this off the air. I saw it in a report in an email that I got, and you've got an article on it. The bullpen issues that the Rangers are having, it's not just with the Rangers, and it's not just with bad bullpens. It's league wide. It's kind of been a strange year as far as bullpens go all around. You mentioned before we got on, the Rays actually have, the Tampa Bay Rays, best team in baseball right now, have actually blown more saves than anybody.
Yep.
So that's crazy.
Yeah.
And you look at all the games that the Rangers lost in heartbreaking fashion, and you look at all these games and look at what the record is now and look at what it could be if they had not blown all those.
Yeah.
And then you look at the Rays the same way. Their record would be insane.
It would be insane if they hadn't blown those saves.
So it's not just the Rangers. And if you want to add on to that, you seem pretty adamant about that before we got on.
Yeah, I mean the rate last year around this time was 67.8% save rate in around the majors. Same time this year, it's 61.4. So it's dropped, over 0.6%. 6% from 67 to 61% down. The save rate is it's lowering, and people think the average was 65 over the last 10 seasons, and we're at 61.4 right now percent. So that means people think the pitch clock is really messing with closers because they really need to think about. They need to think about,
sit up there and have that domineering look, have an attitude, and they're going to have to find a new way to get some spunk because you got to get up there and throw the damn ball now.
But at that point of the game, you really do. I really do think they have to think about, because every pitch matters. Like, in the middle of the third inning, it's not as important that you hit your spot perfectly. But in the ninth, when you're up by 1 run, you got to hit your spot perfectly. So you got to sort of visualize it. You pitched, you know how it is. You got to get it in your mind. You got to know where the ball's going. You got to figure out how you're going to get it there. And now I feel like they feel like they're being rushed, and that's starting to mess with them. But like you said, they're going to have to adjust to it and figure it out. And the teams that adjust to it first are the ones you're going to see making a deep run in the postseason.
Yeah, and it might have an impact throughout the season too.
Yeah,
it might take an entire season for your closers that take the most time on the mound in between pitches to adjust, because it's something that they've been doing for how long? How long? Some of them are relievers in the minors for their entire career and then come up as closers. And so they're used to having that leeway and that time to dilly dally around on the mound and really go over their game plan. Not anymore. Nope. So and some guys that have made a living in baseball, their careers are now, start to set up pitchers, 7th inning guys, 8th inning guys, and closers. They've made their career out of it, and they're being told, you got to change the way you approach it. But it's been that way for everybody, including hitters and teams with fielding decisions, with the shift being changed.
Yep. And
the hitters obviously can't step out as much, and starting pitchers with guys on first base, how many times can you throw over? It's I like the changes. They're one I still hate, and they, please God, after the season, get rid of it. That freaking zombie
runner. Yeah.
Me and TR Sullivan like my cussing rant that I had on Twitter about getting rid of.
I don't like it. I don't like it either.
So it's terrible, but yeah, I think you're on to something there that closers and setup guys. I mean, look at one of our setup guy, the guy that we think that is our best pitcher in the bullpen, and that's Jonathan Hernandez.
Yeah, he has crumbled lately.
He's struggling bad right now.
Yeah, and he is.
Maybe you're on to something there.
And Brock Burke struggled the other day. He was amazing last year.
He struggled a couple times.
He was unflappable last year.
Yeah, ERA was under 2, wasn't it?
Yep.
It was round two, maybe under. He was very good, but hey, adjust to it. I mean, I love it. I love it when I was pitching.
Yeah.
And fielders love it.
Because they're engaged better.
Yes. I absolutely love it. Get up there, take your, get the sign, throw the pitch, go.
All right, we are going to take a short break. As soon as we come back, we will look ahead to the series the Rangers have coming up next week. This is the Ranger Report Podcast. And we are back. CJ, let's look ahead. We have the Pirates starting tomorrow. The Pirates are better than people thought they were going to be.
Much better, much better. That's a series that I'm excited about, and we'll talk a little before we move on from the Pirates. We'll talk a little bit of why we're excited about it. But yes, the Pirates. It's been so long, so long since the Pirates have been good.
Yeah, Clinton Hurdle was their manager. He came from Texas to go up there and manage, and they wound up making the playoffs for a couple of years. And then Andrew McCutchen, man. Andrew McCutchen was a good dude.
Oh, yeah. And, him and, what's his name? They ended up trading Xavier Nady.
Yeah.
He went to Boston, or he went to New York.
Yeah.
And the outfielder, ended up trading an outfielder to Boston as well. And his name is not with me right now, and I think he played a year with the Rangers too. I can't remember, but anyway, it's been a while, but they're good now.
Yeah, they're 24-22. The Rangers are going up there into that series. We're putting Dane Dunning out there for the first game. He is 4-0 with a 1.69 ERA on the season. My goodness, against LL Ortiz, who is 0-2 with a 5.63 ERA on the season. So, just by the books, the Rangers should be able to take this game, but I mean, if Dane Dunning continues doing what he's doing, the Rangers are going to be hard pressed to lose a game that he starts.
Yeah, right now 4-0 with a 1.69 ERA, and that's not just a small sample size in starting. That's a good sample, excellent sample size overall. Because pitching, he was excellent out of the bullpen. He became a starter. Was excellent as a starter. It looks like he has turned into more than what the Rangers hoped when they traded for him a couple of years ago. And you expect that game, considering the pitching matchup, and then the way the Rangers offense overall has been hot. And I know I forgot to mention this when we were talking about the Rockies series. The Rockies came in to the game with the league high, and this is insane to me, over 7 ERA as a team.
Yeah, I know. I read that, and I thought I read it wrong.
7.
Yeah.
And so the Rangers did what they needed, what they were supposed to do. Their offense beat up on a bad pitching team. Yeah. Now, I was sitting there thinking as well, okay, they play in Colorado. Some of that factors in. Yeah. However, no, that's a bad pitching staff. It is a bad pitching staff. They were terrible against the Rangers, and I know they're trying to figure out even who to throw up there anymore.
Yep, I know. So well, yeah. It's bad, they brought up the guy who had a 5.83 ERA, whatever, in the minors.
It was the best shot they had.
Yeah, it was the best shot they had to try to win that game, and he actually looked all right for part of that game. So
yeah, and
it's the first time through the order. That's the thing for rookies. When they get to the second time through the order, man, those hitters know how to adjust.
Yeah, and
especially this team.
We're the guy about Colorado, but I mean,
I was going to say, but we were going to have a guy from Colorado on to talk, but he wasn't able to schedule it correctly.
But even in their minor league teams are all playing in hitter friendly leagues in areas, locations as well. So it's really hard for Rockies scouts and Rockies management to even get a feel on how good a kid's doing. So anyways, the Rangers did what they were supposed to do.
Yep.
And some. And you expect them to go into Pittsburgh, and at least in this first game with the pitching matchup looking the way it is, it looks like it could be one of those routes.
All right, game 2 should be interesting. You got Nathan Eovaldi, whose ERA is ballooned to 2.83. He's 5-2 against Rich Hill, who's still pitching in the Major League Baseball. And he's 4-3 with a 3.80 ERA. So this ought to be a pretty good game.
Rich Hill, he's been around for a long time. He's 43 years old now, and he throws as hard as I don't know, I do, but
but he gets it done, man.
Yeah, but he's stayed around long enough, and he's been crafty. I mean, he's just adjusted to himself over his career more than anybody else has adjusted to him. And
with him, I worry about the off-speed stuff because that's what kills the Rangers right now.
And his off-speed stuff is really off-speed.
Yeah, and it's really good.
Yeah, so that's going to be a concern. That's going to be an interesting matchup, and you want to see how Eovaldi bounces back from the last start. Obviously, it wasn't bad.
But I mean, when you have 28.2 innings in a row without giving up a run, you feel like it's a terrible start when you give up 2 runs in a game. So
ask Cody Bradford. I mean, actually,
by the way, he won. He won his game actually for Round Rock yesterday. So he won a start yesterday. So.
Yeah, so luckily he's going down and doing the things that we expected him to do. But that's going to be an interesting one because Rich Hill, he's a really good pitcher.
Yep.
And when he's really on, he's really hard to hit with that off speed stuff. So that's going to be fun.
Then game 3 is Martin Perez versus Oviedo. Martin, of course, we mentioned earlier, 5-1 with a 4.01 ERA. And Oviedo is 3-3 with a 4.69 ERA. So again, this ought to be a good one. This ought to be a good series. The Pirates are cooling off a little bit. They're not quite as hot as they started. They're 24-22 right now, but they started really hot. They're a team though that I could see, especially on the road, unfortunately taking 2 out of 3. But I think the Rangers, if all goes well, the Rangers should at least take 2 out of 3 in this series.
Well, you'd like to think, considering where the Rangers are now overall. And Martin Perez going in that one, again, he's better than that 4.01 ERA. I could easily see that game, him lowering it to about 3.7 at least, And if you look at it, as far as that matchup goes with Johan Oviedo, he's a 25-year-old. He's a young guy that the Pirates really, really love. He had a 10 strikeout game earlier in the year.
Dang.
Went 7 innings and struck out 10. So he knows how to strike. He knows what he's doing out there. The reason his ERA is so high is his first start of the year. He went, 4 2/3 and gave up 6 runs. Or I'm sorry, he gave up 5 runs, 4 of them earned.
Yeah.
And then in his last start, he just went 2 1/3 and gave up 7 runs.
Wow.
So 2 games, and that ballooned his ERA up to where it is. It's another one of those Martin Perez deals because in the other ones, he's been very, very, very good. I mean, his ERA, aside from that, his ERA going into that last game was a 3.03. So he's much better than his ERA shows. That could be another good pitching matchup as well.
All right, so as I mentioned off the top, we are now part of the Fans First Sports Network, and we are going to have a bonus podcast later this week.
Yes,
not a minor league one, a bonus one, because the guy from Baltimore is coming on with us on Wednesday night, and we'll preview that series. So we'll have 2 coming out later this week. We'll have a shorter one, which will just be a series preview of the Baltimore series, which I think we might start doing some more series previews since we have access to other podcasters from all these other teams now. So we'll start with the Baltimore one on Wednesday, and then later we'll have a guest. I'm trying to line up a guest for this coming week. So hopefully we'll have a minor league guest on the minor league edition of the show. But other than that, CJ, I think we're about done tonight.
Well, I was about to surprise you.
Okay.
Might not. The ink ain't dried on this one yet, but we might have a special guest during the Pirates series.
Nice.
A certain guy that used to cover the Rangers.
Mm-hmm. That would be a great one. He was the Ranger Report BFF for quite some time.
Yes, sir, he was. Chris Halleck may be joining us, so
that would be fun. That would be a fun conversation.
Yes, we will. We're going to see if that works out for this week. If not, then we'll catch up with Halleck for sure. certainly one of our favorites to have on the podcast. So we're going to see about that. So we might have 4 podcasts this week.
Well, we might forego the minor league one if I can't get the guest I'm looking for, and then skip one until next week because we don't want to kill everybody.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a guest as well on Saturday for the minors. So we might. This week is going to be. We're going to do our best.
Let us know. You guys seem to be enjoying the split with the major and minor. You guys seem to be liking it. So, let us know in the comments on Twitter, on Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Let us know if you like it. I'm enjoying it because it gives us more time to cover each organization, the top and then the minors, by splitting it. So I really enjoy it. Yeah,
it's really fun to dig into the minor. And you and I, since we started doing this, we've been pretty adamant that we love covering the minors. Absolutely love it.
Oh yeah.
And that even though those seasons sucked, whenever the Rangers decided, okay, let's get rid of Rugi, let's get rid of Elvis, let's get rid of everybody and restart from the get-go, you and I were pretty excited about that because we love
all the people that came back.
Part. Yes. So the development part and seeing young guys and watching them in the minors, and we love doing it. And this is actually just a decision to go ahead, and it sounds like more work doing an extra podcast every week and focusing on the minors, but it's really not.
No,
it's allowing
really not.
us to do what we really like to do, and that's get into the minor leagues.
Yeah.
And we've kind of split it up. Ben's hitting the Round Rock and Frisco a little bit heavier because he's closer and he goes to those games.
Yep.
And he went to media day in Round Rock or in Frisco the past 2 years. And me, I like the young guys. So I'm taking the A-ballers. So it's been really fun. And I got to brag one more time before we let everybody go.
All right.
Leody Taveras, baby.
Oh yeah, Leody. Looks like the center fielder we all thought he was going to be.
Jeff Wilson has a nice piece on that. He put it out this morning. If you follow those guys,
which
Jeff
you
Wilson,
should.
Yeah, you should. Jeff Wilson had an excellent piece about Leody this morning, and man, I'm telling y'all, I think this is just a start too. I don't think he's reached his peak. So
let's see if I can do it from their podcast. $5.99 a month, $60 for a year.
Yeah.
And you can subscribe to Jeff's website, rangerstoday.com. So you can go to the rangerreport.com too, but that doesn't cost you anything. That's free. So
yeah, we're not greedy.
No, I agree.
I'm not just kidding.
I know you are. I was just going to say that's not my profession. It is his. So
it is their profession. Yeah, that's how Jeff makes his bread and butter.
That's how Jeff makes his living. So we like to push it when we can. CJ and I make our living other ways, like we talk about. But love doing this. Again, thank you guys for listening, and we'll talk to you maybe several more times this week.
Yeah. Well, till next time. Catch you on the flip side after the deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Ranger Report podcast. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, and at therangerreport.com.